the thing is, I would love to know. Like, I wish I could just know everything that I should and shouldn't be doing and what has a direct impact to something else. But I just find that things like, they take over my life. Like when I'm not as into the gym now as I was, but when I started getting into it, because I was super skinny before, even skinnier than I am now, but it would just consume my life. Like from the minute I wake up, just trying to think about getting the meals in and then actually getting the meals in and then going to the gym and stuff. Before you know it, it's like I've wasted so many hours today on just doing that it's exhausting. But I know it's not a waste. I know it's not a waste.
But here's the thing. Here's the answer to this, right? You can't have everything in life.
True.
You can't have everything. You only have a select amount of hours. So you have to choose what you do with those hours. If you chose to be healthy, bro, it's a great thing.
I feel like it's a rich person problem though. Like I feel like a lot of people at home will be watching it and they'll be like, I would love to be able to spend 4 hours a day doing this and experiment with all of this stuff, but I can't because I'm stuck. I don't think you need 4 hours.
You're overcomplicating it. You need an hour in the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and you just need to eat 3 healthy whole food meals a day.
But
that's
the way
not
Kai
complicated.
is, so
that's
he's
not
thinking
expensive.
about it in the time that he isn't in the gym, and that's what I would do as well. But obviously, I've got the personal trainer now that he comes to the house every now and again, and I have 7 sessions with him a week or so. So having him there, making me do it, makes me stop thinking about it.
It is an obsessive thing.
He tells me what to do, and I get it
That's
done.
what you need. You need that routine. Like, I'm going to go to the gym tonight, and then I'm going to eat steak and rice. But I'm not thinking about all that. It's just because I did that yesterday and I did it the day before.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So it comes down to what I was talking about. Make it so hard to lose that it becomes easy to win. Once you commit to sort of say, hey, I go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's just Monday, Wednesday, Friday from this time to this time, nothing exists except that task. Just like when you're working, the gym shouldn't be crossing your mind, right? So the gym isn't your end all be all. There's a famous philosopher bodybuilder known as Mike Mentzer. And Mike Mentzer trained maybe once or twice a week. He was the one that came up with the concept of HIIT, which is the high intensity interval training. And this concept of, I believe that was his. I may be mistaken, but long story short, he has this idea of training maybe once or twice a week, and then everything else is rest and recovery. And the dude was shredded. Of course, he was on steroids, but point being, the gym should be a portion of your life. Exercising should be a portion of your life. It shouldn't be the end all be all. But dude, once again, when you're 7 years old and you can be doing laps and running, you're not going to be like, oh shit, I wasted my time building this. Because you're going to get there and money won't have the same level of priority that it does now. But if you got to get the bag secured, and you're like, whatever, okay, go get the bag secured, but get it secured quick. But it'd be stupid to compromise something that you can get infinite amounts of for something that you can't get infinite amounts of, like your health. So it's like we're delusional because we give up the shit that we can't replace for the things that we can replace.
No, you are right. It is a delusion. You are so right, because that's exactly what I am, down to a T. I prioritize money over fitness.
I was just chasing money until this thing happened with my neck, and I was like, right, well, what's the point in having this money if I don't have the time? It just made me think, maybe I had a couple of years left, but luckily it's all good. But it does put you in that dark place, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a Mackey's and a large Coke, keep it moving. But it's not a good thing, I know. But we'll get there.
So you mentioned the quality of food being bad in the US. Where do you think the US is going as a whole in the future, especially with this recent incident with Trump?
I mean, that was crazy what took place with Trump. At the end of the day, the world is a stage. There's a lot of superpowers in control. But, history is written by the victors. It's never necessarily written by the person that's correct. So the United States has entered a downfall. Like every empire enters a downfall the moment you begin to print money. So you look at the Roman Empire, when they begin to dilute, their currency, and they begin to insert less precious metals into the formation of the coin, then the empire began to collapse. So what we're seeing now is the destruction of the dollar. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, I don't know. But people are greedy, so the printers get turned on, and inevitably the country collapses because the country's basically built on credit. Banks operate off of credit. I'm staying in the city of London, so I spent some time researching banks, how banks work. And banks are not in the business of deposits. They're not in the business of holding your money. They're not in the business of fractionalizing money. They're in the business of credit creation. So most of the things that are taking place right now in the world are based off of credit creation. The United States is propped up and built on credit. What happens when you can't pay off your debts? The economy comes to a freeze because people can't buy new goods and you enter a recession. Later, you enter a depression. And unless a political situation like what took place went south, you enter a civil war. And that's when shit hits the fan. So we were 5 millimeters away from a civil war. We were 5 millimeters away from the markets absolutely collapsing because everything is pricing in Trump winning. So when you have that priced in and he doesn't win because he's unalived, everything goes to shit. So there's things that are outside of our control. So once you understand that everything outside of your control is going to happen regardless of you, there's going to be, guys, understand that for most of history, there has been wars and turmoil. This idea of like living in peace and that nobody's going to come and fuck up your shit and take what belongs to you it's an illusion of freedom. It's not real. We see it kind of unraveling. Society is getting kind of crazy. This happens. Read The Fourth Turning. Every 100 years, there's cycles. So back to credit creation. Once you have the idea of infinite money being created to do what? Not goods and services that benefit the GDP, but Gucci bags, all the bullshit, credit creation that produces no real value. You enter depression, recession, and in this case, political malfunctions that could enter a civil war. So if you can't control the exterior, what can you control? Which is what matters. So instead of caring about what's the future of America, what's the future of me? So I always tell people you need to be international, right? If you're bound to one individual nation and you're like, I'm loyal to this country, well, you just went the PSYOP, right? Because the country isn't necessarily loyal to you. They're printing money out of thin air, so they clearly don't care. They're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to the Ukraine. So they clearly don't care about you. I didn't get any money. Did you get any money?
No, it hasn't turned up yet.
I haven't gotten any of it. So they don't give a fuck about me. So they're taking the money. So if this is taking place in all economies all around the world, what I need to be is decentralized, decentralizing every aspect of my life. So right now you want to decentralize your governance. So the countries that you're under. How are you going to get to these things? With money. So you need to decentralize your finances. So how do you decentralize your finances? You can't just be dependent on a 9-to-5. A 9-to-5 is great, but you can't find security in a job because you don't know the current health of your employer or if your employer could implode. You should never find your satisfaction or your sustenance in an exterior factor should be within. So supplement your finances. You need to be able to make more money. So you need to be able to make more money, decentralize your locations, and then decentralize that money that you have. If the money that you have is within the banking system, you're fucked, which is why I advocate for crypto, why I advocate for Bitcoin. So I don't even look at the governments as individual units anymore. The world is so connected. We saw it with the outage that took place the other day. Half of the world turned off. There was no borders. Nah, there wasn't flags. The system is the system. Mm-hmm. So you can't pin it to one country. It's so intertwined. So you look at the system, you see the system is imploding. So you need to find an alternative system. You need to be decentralized within the system so you don't have a single point of failure. And you need to be able to make money so you can move freely. And these are the keys. Don't focus on the single individual unit. Focus on the collective system that's collapsing. Understand that there's an alternative system coming into existence and position yourself accordingly.
So let's say you did all of that stuff. You became self-employed. You weren't attached to a nation and your money was decentralized in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever coin you want to choose. What do you think would happen if Trump did get unalived? Would that affect the crypto markets?
100%.
So where can crypto you put it that's actually safe?
You have to move money. Unfortunately, it's no longer 1895 where you owned 100% of your paycheck and they weren't printing money out of thin air. So now you enter a state of speculation. Bro, people are making more money in meme coins than people have doctorates. That's not right. Like that doesn't make any sense. So something is fucked. What's taking place? People are speculating. Why is somebody going to work an engineering job for 80 grand a year and just do memes? That's what people are thinking. You'd be surprised. Oh no, well that's not everybody that's thinking that. Well, there's tens of millions of people, which tells you that's very fucking real. So that's an issue. Maybe for you living in your first world country with $100,000 a year salary, that's fine. But what if you're an engineer in India? And you could moderate for the same price and you don't have to fucking leave your house. People are starting to realize the discrepancies that are taking place. And it's not really playing the same way. I don't know, man. The world's getting fucked up. What do you guys think?